Welcome to the Money Made Human podcast. It celebrates at its heart the work of credit unions and their vital role in enriching our lives and communities. Brought to you by First Class Credit Union, each episode features insightful discussions revealing the meaningful impact that can be made through economic collaboration. Mostly, it's a collection of compassionate conversations about navigating life and the individual journeys we take. Welcome to Money Made Human, a podcast by First Class Credit Union. We're delighted today to be joined by a special guest, a television broadcaster, football commentator, lawyer, and brother of the late Craig Brown, former Scotland manager. Welcome everyone, Jock Brown! So nice to have you with us. Thank you for being here. Now, we have so many questions for you. Can't wait to talk to you about lots of different bits and pieces. But we have something in common. We went to the same school.
Absolutely.
Not at the same time, but we went to the same school in Hamilton.
Yes.
So what was your upbringing like in Hamilton?
Well, I arrived in Hamilton. I was supposed to be going to school in Rutherglen, would you believe?
No. Which is near our office.
Absolutely. And just as that was all about to happen, I had been to the school to see it. At a brand new school, I think. Calderwood Primary, was it something like that? I can't remember. I was 5 years old, and just at that time, my father and mother decided to move home, and they moved to Hamilton. So that summer, we moved to Hamilton, 1951, and I then went to St John's Primary. Mm-hmm. So the first schooling was there. But I should have been here in Rutherglen.
That's so funny. And then you've got happy memories of growing up in Hamilton, haven't you, in terms of... Yeah. You had... Is it two brothers you had?
Two older brothers, yes. I'm the youngest of three, yes, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Craig was the eldest. And the respectable one was Bob in the middle.
Is that right?
He's a minister.
He's a minister?
Well, he's a retired minister, yeah.
Oh. And I remember you telling me once that you used to enjoy playing football in the garden because you weren't far from the school in Hamilton Grammar. That's that you right. Went on to, or Hamilton Academy, as
Hamilton
it was
Academy
then.
In my day, but the house we lived in was at the end of Orchard Street, which is right on the railway. Mm-hmm. And there was a patch of ground which is actually owned by the railway, right at the side of our house. And my father levelled it out and made it into an area where we could play football in it. And no one objected. So the three of us played there constantly. Of course, any pals would come and join us. So, and we had a gable wall there. So you could kick the ball, if you're on your own, you could kick the ball against that gable wall and practice all day long if you wanted. And that was where the house was.
And was that a kind of first love of football at that point? Did you grow up loving football?
Yes, I can't remember not being a big factor in my life. Because my father was a professional player.
Oh, was he?
My grandfather was a very good player too. He played for Queen's Park way back. He was amateur, but he played for Queen's Park.
Oh, wow.
My father played for various teams as a professional.
Who did your dad play for?
He started at Queen's Park. He played for Hamilton Hickeys for a short time. He was in at Partick Thistle. And then the war broke out. When the war broke out, he went down to Gosford, near Wolverhampton. Mm-hmm. And in those days, professional players, would play for the club close to where they were based.
Okay. So
you have Stanley Matthews up here playing for teams in Scotland. And my father played for Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Oh, wow.
When he was down there. And then came back. He had one season at Kings Park, which is now Stirling Albion. And that took him to about 35, 36 when he retired.
What position did your dad play?
I understand he played either right back or right half in the old days.
Okay, so in defence?
Aye, defender.
And was he tall like you?
5'10".
Okay. What about for your mum growing up in a house filled with boys, football focused, professional footballer husband? What was your mum like? What did she bring to the home?
Everything.
Did she?
I would say so, yeah. I mean, she was the star, really, of the home.
Was she?
And, of course, she got involved and she got interested in all of that. So, Craig played, he played for Dundee when they won the league championship in 1961 too. And she was at every match. She was all the games.
Oh, was she?
She had to join us rather than, it was that, so same as we're all golfers, and she took up golf quite late in her life.
Oh, did
to
she?
join the whole thing, yeah.
Oh, brilliant. What was your parents' names, Jock?
My father was Hugh Brown and my mother was Margaret.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
What I've had the privilege of getting to know you over the last few years, and you're a man of immense values and integrity, and I wonder, did that creep into your psyche from childhood? Did that come from your parents?
Yes.
It did?
I would say so, yes. My father particularly, my father was a very demanding man. He was very strict. I was frightened of him, actually. Mm-hmm. He was quite a forceful character, but he did instill values and standards and things of that kind. And if you fell short of them, he was right on you. And he was too tough, actually.
Was he? Mm-hmm. Did that change the way you were as a father?
And influenced it without question. Mm-hmm. The difference for me was I had only daughters, and he had only sons. Mm-hmm. So he was quite tough.
So that's a different dynamic.
And daughters are a different dynamic, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And did your mum balance that out? Did your mum balance some?
To some extent, yes. To some extent, not entirely, but to some extent, she was pretty tough too.
What?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
As they would say locally, we're tough folk in Lanarkshire.
Well, neither of them came from Lanarkshire, but they were tough folk. Yeah,
they were. What about your journey through school then? You went to Hamilton Academy, and you did actually really well because you went to one of the most prominent universities in the UK.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
You went on to Cambridge.
Yeah, that was a strange thing because I was actually scheduled to go to Glasgow. I was in Glasgow at a place at Glasgow, and at the very, very last minute for the deadline for applications, it was a former student of my father's. My father was the principal of PE at Jordan Hill College eventually. That was his final job. And one of his students had gone to do a postgrad course at Cambridge. And when my father was at Jordan Hill, he took the football team at Jordan Hill.
Okay.
And it was a very successful amateur team. And he drove it. And this guy played in that team. And as a small boy, I used to go and watch a lot of the games. The main reason was at Jordan Hill, they had the best gymnasium in the country, probably. So I was able to take a pal with me. I'd go with my father to watch them play on a Saturday afternoon, but we have to be there very early. So the two of us would be in the gym and with all the facilities. It was great. And then we'd watch the game. And of course, I'm talking about being 12, something like that. So the players got to know you. Archie McPherson played in that team.
Oh, a fellow football commentator.
And that was how he got me into the business. And it was because I got to know him then.
No.
As a wee boy, watched him play.
Oh my goodness, I want to come back to that.
Yeah, so he was in the team, but the guy who played centre forward was a star man, was a great player. He went to Cambridge on a postgrad course. And then he would meet my father from time to time, and he kept asking for me. How's Jock doing? How's he getting on? And my father would tell him what I was doing. And on one occasion he said to him, how's he doing at school? Is he very good at school? And he's doing quite well. Get him to Cambridge. You know, and my father said to me, Bob Carlyle says you should apply for Cambridge. You know, and I said, don't be silly. What are you talking about? It's daft. I'm going to Glasgow, it's all sorted. Yeah. And next thing, he produced the application forms.
Your dad?
Well, the other guy gave them to my father.
Okay.
The application forms. And my father said to me one September weekend, I was going to a party somewhere, and he said, they've got to be in by tomorrow. I said, I'm going to a party. I'm not bothered with that, I waste my time anyway. He filled the forms up.
Did he?
When I came back, I had to sign them. Look, just check it and sign it. And that's what happened. And I thought, that's that finished. And then suddenly I get this invitation to go for interview. Go to Cambridge for interview.
And was that to do law? Did you pick law?
Yes, I was to do law, yeah. So the next thing I know, I've got this letter saying, invited for an interview, for 2 days of interviews at Cambridge. And it was the first time in my life I flew.
Is that right?
I'd never flown in my life, and that was trying, how do you get there?
Uh-huh.
And I worked out, you fly to Heathrow, Abbott's Inch as it was then in those days, to Heathrow, and then get from Heathrow to Cambridge. And I had no idea how to do that. And I worked out that was a real chore. It took a long time. And then I got to Cambridge. I had 2 days in Cambridge, being interviewed by all sorts of people. And I was so relaxed, I can't tell you, because there was no chance of getting in. I was wasting my time, you know. So I wanted a bit of fun.
Uh-huh.
So I did all these interviews without the slightest nerve in me, because it was a waste of time. I knew that, and I thought, blow me, give me a place.
And you got a place?
Yeah.
How did you feel being away from home? That would have been your first spell away from home?
That was very difficult.
Was it?
I was very homesick for a while, yeah. It was difficult.
But
very
you persevered with that?
Oh, you had to persevere, aye. And you couldn't, there was no chance of getting back, and there was no communication either.
Of course.
You had to write letters to communicate, because you couldn't get a phone.
There was no mobiles?
No, I think no internet, nothing. So you would have, if you arranged, write a letter and say, I'll phone you at this phone box at a certain time, maybe. That was, it was hopeless.
You said your dad was tough as you were, you know, growing up. How did he feel about you going to Cambridge? Was that a proud moment for him?
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Because he was the one that made it happen, if you like,
sure.
in terms of the application and going there. But once I got there, he really didn't show a lot of interest. It was quite strange. And the other thing that was funny about it was what saved my life at Cambridge when I got there as a 18-year-old homesick boy was football, because I was put in the university team very quickly, and that meant I went there in October, and I played in the trials for the university. Get injured in the trial, 3 weeks out from there, and then get back to fitness, and suddenly found I was in the team. So I played at the end of October. I played my first game against the Royal Navy, I remember, and on December the 5th, I played at Wembley against Oxford, and that was in no time really, and that transformed everything there.
Did that give you a friendship group?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely huge, yeah. So I played there all the time, and that made a huge difference.
What was your hope from going to Cambridge? You wanted to study law, become a lawyer?
I hadn't thought that out. I wasn't sure of that.
Okay.
No, I wasn't sure, because another thing at Cambridge, they don't pressure you to become a lawyer if you're doing law.
Sure.
And it's expected. If you go to Glasgow University to do law, they expect you to have a legal career. But at Cambridge they don't. It's wide open. So I came to the conclusion, well, I didn't think I'd stay in England, and it was English law I was doing, so I just used it as a general degree basically at that time.
And so did that mean you had to come back to Scotland and do further education?
Yes.
To transfer to the Scottish system?
Yes.
And where did you do that, Jock?
I did that. No, I did that. No, I came back. I became a journalist. The
Oh,
first job
did?
I got was a journalist. Yeah, after I left university, and I went to the Glasgow Herald, which I hated. It was awful. And it lasted about 3 or 4 months.
What kind of reporting were you doing?
I was a news sub-editor at the Glasgow Herald.
Okay.
And it was not a good experience. But in the business, I then realised if you really want to have a chance, the place you really develop is DC Thomson, Sunday Post.
We're huge fans of the Sunday Post here.
So am I. So I then made application at Sunday Post.
Oh, did you?
So I went to Herald in July, and I joined the Post in November.
What did you do there?
Everything.
Oh, did you?
Everything. The biggest thing I did, I went to do sport initially for them, and it was the weekly news in the Sunday Post, or sister paper. So you did the first half of the weekly news, the second half of the week in the Sunday Post, they were so different. That was the other thing that was remarkable. Very different papers and very different material they wanted. So I was doing that, and then eventually I was moved on to do news and features on the Sunday Post and sport at the weekend.
Okay.
So I did the Honest Truth for years and years.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
But was sport is that the pathway you wanted to get to?
Sport
Was that
my
your big interest?
Yes, it was,
So how does law come back into this?
well, I did about a year and a half at Sunday Post, and then there was an advertisement for Assistant Secretary of the Scottish Football League, and looking at that, I had the background for that, so I was persuaded to apply for it. I was not sure about it, but I applied for it, and I got it. And I spent about a year and a half there. But I had nothing to do. It was idle, and it wasn't very fulfilling at that time. I then went back to Sunday Post, and then actually went back to doing news and features and stuff as well as the sport. And I did that for another 2 or 3 years, and then came to the conclusion. I went to the Glasgow Press Club one night. I was a member of the Press Club, and I went to the Press Club one night, and I looked around it, and I saw a lot of pickled people. Because that was and they're all working these shifts. Where the evening paper guys were there at 6 a.m. and were finished at 2 p.m.
Sure.
Went to Press Club.
Sure.
And the guys who were working in the daily papers would start at 2 p.m. And so they'd maybe in the morning go in and play snooker or something, or whatever. And I'm looking about it.
It was a lifestyle,
I don't
really?
think this is...
For you?
This is not long-term for me. I've enjoyed what I've done. I did enjoy it. And I decided to go back and study law. So I did that through the Law Society.
In Scotland?
In Scotland. The Law Society, I phoned the Law Society, and I got a very charming lady who I've got a lot to, don't know who she was, I can't remember. But I said, look, here's my background, but I'm interested in having a legal career in Scotland. Right, here. I said, what's the quickest way? I'm now married with kids. What's the quickest way to qualify as a lawyer in Scotland? And she said, well, the quickest way, but I don't recommend it, the quickest way is to find a firm who'll give you an apprenticeship and study at the same time and sit all the Law Society of Scotland professional exams. If you did that, the quickest time you could do it in is 2 years, but I'm not recommending that because if you're going to work and try and study, you'll never cope with that. That's too demanding. But it has to be the quickest way. That's the quickest way. That's what I did.
And that's what you juggled all of that and qualified in Scotland.
So what I did at that time was I went to do the apprenticeship. I was working with a firm in Motherwell. I worked there Monday to Friday. Studied every night. So I'd finish work at 5:30, and the cleaner would come in with a roll and a coffee.
And look after you.
Look after me. And I'd then study 6 till 9, and then go home at 9.
Golly.
I did that Monday to Friday. On Saturday, I got a job in the Sunday Express doing a football match report. Because I now have no money, remember. I have no money at all at that point. So I have to go and try and earn something.
Some money.
So I spent the Saturday doing a football match report somewhere all over the country. And then Sunday I studied, and then back to my Monday to Friday again for 2 years.
But you persevered?
Yes.
And became a lawyer?
Yes.
A successful lawyer?
I think people would probably say I was successful, yeah.
Let's come back to that. I want to talk about the Archie Macpherson story.
Ah, yeah.
So for any of our members listening, Archie Macpherson is a well-renowned journalist, broadcaster in Scotland. Did so much in terms of football commentary, and he's kind of become an icon of Scottish broadcasting.
Yeah.
So how do you get a link with Archie? He's playing in your dad's football team?
He played in the Jordan Hill team, outside right. He was a sprinter. He's fast, very, very fast.
Was he?
Yeah, very, very quick. So he played it as a good team. He played outside right in the team. And because I was there most Saturdays, all the players got to know me, and I knew them. So I would meet him at odd places, and I met him then, and he always chatted. And I grew up, and as I remember going to a match at Motherwell, a cup tie at Motherwell, and he was commentating. Mm-hmm. And I met him outside, and he said, so we had a little chat, and he said, well, I think you're doing some broadcasting. And I said, I'm not doing it really, no, I thought about that. He said, well, I could tell you that this was January. Next season, radio's expanding massively, and they're looking for people to do match reports and things. Would you be interested? I said, oh yeah, that sounds good. That's good fun. I've now switched to the law.
Yep.
I said, that'd be great fun. That'd be great. All right, I'll tell them about you. And that was January. Mm-hmm. And the season started, new season started August 9. On August 8, I get a phone call from the BBC. They understand you're interested in doing match reports. And I said, well, yeah. That's what person say you're interested in doing that. I said, yeah, that's right. Right, can you go to Kilmarnock tomorrow?
And commentate? Or
no, just do a match report. So I'd sit at the game and do a report into my phone, phone the report in. And that's what I started doing.
Oh my goodness.
So he got me in.
And how did that progress? Because you actually moved into doing full football commentary?
Yeah, well what happened there was I started doing the match reports. It was a big change at the time. It's now commonplace, but at that time it was brand new. It used to be. So you sit at a match, and you had a system whereby you could contact the studio and say there's a goal been scored.
Sure.
And they'd come to you,
mm-hmm.
and you would tell them what had happened to the goal had been scored, and that would insert to the main commentary. That would insert from all the grounds. That was the start of all that. So I was doing that. Was
this on radio?
BBC Radio Scotland, yeah. Yep. And then the producer of that whole thing, the guy in charge of that, said to me after about a year, he said, you ever think of doing commentary? And I said, oh, not really, no. He said, you want to have a go at it? I said, oh, okay, why not? So he gave me a dummy run commentary. And after that, I was in.
I'm really curious about this. How do you learn to do that? Because I don't know. I imagine it's tougher than it looks. How, and there's a great skill in making that kind of normalised.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
I don't know. I think I remember vividly this. The game I did as a dummy run, what they said to me was, go to Dumbarton versus Dundee.
Glamour tie.
Aye, big game. Which is going to be the Saturday afternoon commentary. They did the second half of a game, and that's all they did in those days, was the second half of the game.
And was this also for radio?
This is Radio Scotland.
This is still radio.
And this is a live commentary. Mm-hmm. Alistair Alexander was doing the commentary in the radio, and doing the second. And they said, go to the game, and you do the first half as a dummy run. Mm-hmm. So, I was a lovely man. Couldn't be more helpful. So I go to the game, and he says, just do your own thing, and so I'm connected to the studio, and they said, do your own thing. So I start the game, and I start to warble, and I always remember, never forget, the producer came on in my earphone and said, right, keep talking and listen.
Okay, that's tricky.
Immediately, keep talking. Most folks say, shut up and listen.
How do you do that?
Keep talking and listen. So he then gave me a couple of pointers, mm-hmm. and then I heard nothing. And I just did the game to half-time. And they told me to come back into the studio after the game. So I went back into the studio after the game, and the producer hugged me.
Nice.
And said, "I've got a commentator."
And you were just a natural.
That was me started. And within, that would have been probably March 78 probably. And I did England-Scotland at Wembley about 18 months later.
For TV?
For Radio 2.
For Radio?
For Radio 2.
For Radio 2.
Yeah.
And you progressed to television?
Yeah.
And what was that transition like?
Massively difficult.
Because that's a bigger audience?
It's not, forget the audience. The problem is people see the pictures. Mm-hmm. So you're not this. You're doing a radio, so you can do things to make the game better. It's just past the post when it's hitting the corner flag, and no one will know that. So you can, on the radio, you can manufacture a lot more, but on television, the pictures tell the story.
Sure.
So what you're trying to do is enhance the understanding of the pictures.
Okay.
Totally different skill. Very different.
And how do you learn to do that?
Practice.
Practice. I have a couple of questions about your football commentating. One is, how do you do that if you support one of the teams? Can you do that? Is that really tricky?
Well, the only time that became relevant for me was I did Hamilton Accies against Celtic at Douglas Park, I remember.
Okay.
And it was, the commentary gantry was put right above the tunnel, which is right in front of the director's box in the stand, so everybody can see you. And in fairness, I'm a Hamilton Accies man, so I'm watching the Accies, and they scored after 80 minutes. It was 0-0 in 80 minutes, and John Mailer scored for Hamilton. And I had to commentate on it. And I got out my seat at the goal getting, and then realised where I was and sort of...
I'd had to taper that?
I sat down, and of course Celtic scored 2 more before the end, so Celtic won 2-1. But that was the only time I felt a difficulty at a club match. But international matches are different. You're in a World Cup match with Scotland.
You can kind of let that go?
Well, I don't think you do.
No.
I don't do fan TV. I don't rate that. No, you've got to be totally professional about it. You've still got to be professional. You've still got to see 2 teams. You've got to watch 2 teams play, not one. But you're obviously wanting Scotland to win, and you're supporting Scotland. But that isn't a justification for being unprofessional. You've still got to be professional about it.
And you mentioned, interestingly, there that in that Hamilton Accies Celtic game, you'd kind of get out of your seat when Hamilton Accies scored. But you actually went on to be the chief executive at Celtic.
No, I didn't.
No?
No, I was general manager of
football. You were general manager. Is that a different thing?
Football, yes.
It was a different thing. What did that entail then?
It entailed everything to do with the football department except coaching the team.
Okay.
So mainly it was transfers, bring in players, buy players, sell players, enhance the team quality by means of recruiting players.
Was that an interesting role to have, to be behind the scenes?
Fantastic, yeah, great.
Fascinating?
Very good, great fun.
What did you enjoy about that?
I enjoyed being in the middle of it all. I enjoyed doing the deals. I mean, I was also, the legal background was very helpful because I'm doing contracts now. I'm doing deals. So, you know, you're signing players who become superstars. I mean, weren't superstars when they arrived, but they became superstars. Henrik Larsson, Lubin Moravcik, and people like that. You know, they Paul Lambert, Craig Burley, all became
superstars,
great players. And you know, you're involved in bringing them in. That was very, very interesting.
Did you step back from football commentary at that point?
Yes, had to.
To be independent?
Yes, yeah.
And did you miss that?
Yes.
You missed it?
I did. Well, I'm back to it as soon as I left. You know, but, you know, I missed it, yeah.
Because you became, like Archie Macpherson, a recognisable voice in Scottish football?
Yeah, probably did, yeah. Yeah, you would do. Yeah.
I remember hearing your voice growing up, and my dad would have Sports Scene or Scott Sport or something on, and I would recognise your voice from that.
Well, the thing then was, you see, when I started, there was Sports Scene, there was Scott Sport. I was in Scott Sport, and then I moved to Sports Scene.
Sure.
To 10 years of Scott Sport, and then moved to Sports Scene. There was nothing else. There only were 2 television commentators doing football in Scotland at that time. Now there's hundreds of them, they're all over the place. But in those days there were only 2. If the football was on and it was a televised match, it was either Archie or me.
Yep.
So both voices would become very familiar to people.
Iconic voices. And the other question I wanted to ask you about football commentary, it's to do with a game that transcended football and law, and it was a very famous football game that you commentated on, where Rangers were playing Celtic. I think a couple of the players got sent off.
Goldilocks and the Three Bears, they called it.
Yes, so I think that was Frank McAvenny for
Who's the
Celtic,
Goldilocks?
Terry Butcher, Chris
Graham
Woods.
Roberts. Chris Woods, yeah.
But actually, what happened on the field ended up in court.
Yep.
And I wondered,
I was cited as a witness.
oh, you were?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. So how do you approach that when you're commentating on the game, but you also have this legal profession? You've just said you were cited as a witness. That was a firestorm in Scottish football.
It sure was, yeah.
What's your take on that?
Well, your take on it is what you do is the words you use over the incidents, you've got to choose carefully.
Yeah.
But you just do that, and you do it as fairly and honestly and neutrally as you can. And what I was cited for was I was cited to give evidence about my commentary.
Okay.
And eventually what happened was they got a transcript of my commentary over the relevant incidents, and they sent it to me and asked me to confirm that's what I said. And of course it was what I said, because I just did a transcription of the television coverage. And when that happened, the defence and the Crown agreed that was what I said.
Okay.
And I didn't have to go to court and confirm that. That was all I would be doing. So yeah, that's what I said. That's how I read it, and that's what I said at the time.
And how are you measured in that moment, in the heat of that moment, when things are happening on the field and you're reacting to them? How do you not get emotional about it?
Well, you definitely don't. Well, you can't. You don't. I mean, you're stone cold. You're stone cold during it. You absolutely got to be stone cold. And of course, I realised what was happening was legal potentially.
Sure,
So
because of your background.
I'm even more careful, you know. Yeah. No, you just got to stay. You've got to stay. The same as Scotland playing the World Cup. You've got to stay as cold as ice. You can't get emotional about it.
What was your favourite? Do you have a favourite game you ever commentated on?
One or two, yeah. I find it hard to get away from Aberdeen winning the Europe Cup Winners' Cup against Real Madrid in Gothenburg. That was massive.
Was Alex Ferguson there?
Yes,
when that
he was the
happened?
manager. Yeah, and the other one was the cup final. I remember was my first cup final for the BBC, and that was Motherwell 4, Dundee United 3.
Wow.
Cracker. Great game. That brings with me too. And then the Scotland games when they qualify for the World Cup. I mean, these games are
Stay with you.
huge.
And your late brother Craig was the former Scotland manager. What would he be thinking about Scotland going to the World Cup? Because
overjoyed.
He was the last manager to take us
that's
there.
right. Oh no, he'd be overjoyed.
Would he?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he was the biggest fan of all. The biggest
You'd be
Scotland fan.
excited about it.
He would be. He was quite upset about it. It wasn't happening, you know. But and he's a big fan of Steve Clark, the manager now. You know, so he would have been absolutely delighted. Yeah, no question.
What about, if I can ask you, Jock, about dealing with bereavement, because it's something that happens to us all. It affects our members and many others. What was that like to lose your big brother, and kind of share that grief with a nation, I guess?
Well, it was difficult, very difficult. It was the hard part of it was the fact that we knew he was dying, and it took a week.
Okay.
So his family were there all the time. I was there all the time. My brother was there all the time. So we're going there day by day for a week, knowing
you're going to lose him.
It was only a question of when. Yeah, it was extremely difficult. And of course, but I mean, for his wife and kids, much really terrible. And you were there for them too. I mean, that was a very important element in it, was to offer support for them. No, that was very difficult.
And there were some beautiful tributes paid to him when he passed. Did they bring you some peace or?
Oh yeah, they did. Yes, I know that was it was good to see all that. But it's more private than that, you know. Your own. You know,
Losing your brother.
Because I'm very, very happy to say, you know, people talk all the time about loved ones and all that. When they're talking about family, it's not always the case.
Sure.
Because families fall out.
Of course.
But we didn't. The three of us, I don't remember a crossword. Oh. And we're always very supportive of the other two, whatever we're doing, you know. So that's quite important, and it kept you close. But that applied to three of us, you know, we're all the time, no matter good times and bad times, career-wise and things like that. We're all in for each other.
And I guess when you were talking about your parents earlier, and that it seems like that kind of strong fortitude they had for family and upbringing, perhaps having your siblings was a great help to you?
Massive. No question, massive. Maybe the most influential, probably the one in the middle.
Is that right?
He's a special guy, yeah.
And he's a retired minister?
Yeah.
What has he brought to your life? Just when you say he's a massive influence.
I would class him the most important person in my life.
Is that right?
Yeah. In terms of, we shared a room for all the years we were kids. We shared a bedroom. As boys, he's 3 years older than me. And where we lived actually at the time, there was hardly anybody my age round about. He'd pals his age, but nobody, no school pals were near us. So in my age group, and he integrated me into his age group, which is unusual to do for your wee brother, you know, your wee brother to get involved. But he was also a massive influence. He's a very bright guy, a massive influence in life generally. And spent that time with him, a lot of time with him as a kid. And I do remember when I first discovered he was a minister, I couldn't believe that. Because it was in the back of, he's a very good golfer. He won the St Andrews Boys Golf Championship. And I carried for him in the final. And he came from behind in the final and won at the Old Course in the last green. And we'd walk round the back nine. There was this very distinguished looking gentleman with a white bonnet who walked round watching. There's quite a few watching, but this guy, you kept seeing him. This guy? And eventually we finished up, and this guy came over to us. And we're on the last green, just getting the clubs sorted out, and he came over and introduced himself. And he was a professional at the Gleneagles.
Is that right? A
man called Jack McLean, a real gentleman. And he said to my brother, are your parents here by any chance? And they were behind the last green. So he said, oh, that's one over there. Right. He disappeared. And he came back with them and said that he'd watched that, and he was very impressed by not just the way he played, but the way he conducted himself and so forth, and wondered if he'd be interested in coming to Gleneagles as an assistant professional.
Wow.
And he said, thanks very much, but no, I'm going to be a minister.
Was that shocking?
Hmm?
Was that shocking for you?
Well, I didn't know.
Uh-huh.
I had no idea. What? And so he declined the offer to become a professional golfer.
What was his reason to become a minister? Was it to help others?
Oh, yeah.
Was it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But you see, you have that in you too. And I wonder if that's a...
I was never going to be a minister.
No. But, you know, I know people will perhaps label you as a broadcaster or a commentator or
whatever.
A lawyer. but actually you've done so much good in the background, just quietly helping others. And is that a strain that has run through your family?
Yeah. I never
Because
think about that. I don't even, what you're saying, I'm trying to recognise, because I'm not conscious of it.
but it is there.
I'd be very pleased if it was.
I suppose the example I'm thinking about is you've done so much over the years to promote education to children and families from areas of economic deprivation,
Yeah.
and promoting the opportunity that higher and further education can bring. And I wonder why did you do that? Why is that important to you?
I think it's important to give back and to contribute. I think that's basically the thing. But that came about, you're talking about Children's University, and that came about in a very strange way because I was invited to speak at Carlisle, and it was the Cumbrian Cambridge Alumni Society or whatever asked me to go and speak at one of their functions, and I went down to do that at Carlisle because I'd support that cause, So I was at Carlisle United football ground. It was where they held it in the stadium. So I went down there and did this, and as I did so, I looked out at the audience, and in the audience was one of my teammates at Cambridge.
No.
And he said,
And you hadn't seen him since?
No, I hadn't seen him. No, I hadn't seen him at all since I left. He's sitting in the front row. And my goodness me. So, of course, I do my thing, and then... So we then into the bar, and we start to chat and catch up in careers and stuff. And it had been advertised this thing was happening, and that's why he came. And I said, what are you doing? Apart from career-wise, we talked about that. He says, I'm chairman of Children's University in England. I'd never heard of it. So I said, what's all that about? So he told me all about Children's University. And I said to him then, that sounds fantastic. That's a terrific thing. I said, why is it not in Scotland? And he looked at me and he said, well, we've got no one in Scotland to promote it. And maybe until now. He looked at me and I thought, so I drove back up the road and I thought, I can't not do this.
Yeah.
So I started to go about setting up Children's University of Scotland.
And that resulted in hundreds of children and young people going along to graduation ceremonies at places like the Barony Hall, with the University of Strathclyde, and many others.
Let me tell you one story that sticks with me, that made it all worthwhile. The idea was, just for people who don't know that, the idea was that we promoted extramural activities, post-school activities for kids who otherwise would have had no access to things. So they could qualify, they could decide they want to be a musician, say, or chess player, whatever they wanted to be that was productive and educational, to do it out with school hours in a manner where every hour they spent, they get an hour's credit. And once they had 30 hours, they got a bronze award, and then they get a silver award, and then a gold award at 100 hours or whatever. And they graduated to get these awards at places like the Barony Hall, Queen Margaret in Edinburgh and Aberdeen and all over the place. So we recruited all these kids, ideally ones that were deprived. That was a big target, to give them an opportunity to do new things. And we started it in 2012, 2013, I think was the first graduation at Barony Hall. And 2 weeks after that graduation, I was going to London, and I went to Central Station in Glasgow to buy a ticket. And the guy behind the desk, I'm saying, I'm going to return to London or whatever, and he said, before we start, Mr. Brown, I just want to thank you. And I said, I'm sorry, what are you talking about? He said, I was at the graduation. I said, what, Barry Hall? Yes, I was. I said, oh, you're one of your kids there? My boy was there. He graduated. I said, oh, that's terrific, that's great. He says, oh, you don't know how great it is. I said, oh, what is, why? He said, the boy was lost. We couldn't cope with him. His mother and I couldn't do anything with him. I couldn't get him to study. He wouldn't do anything. He was a complete problem all the time. He was playing truant. He wasn't doing anything productive, and he's in bad company, and we're worried sick about him. And he joined Children's University, and he graduated. And one of the rules we had was you cannot attend a Children's University event if you've dogged school.
Yep.
If you've played truant, you can't do it.
Yep.
So you have to go to school first. So he said he has never missed a class. He's doing extremely well at school. And he's happy as Larry. And it's all because of Children's University. And I said, what's the boy's name? So I got the boy's name. And I left it and I phoned the chief exec of Children's University and said, look, do me a favour, will you check this boy out? Gave her the name. Phoned me back in about 10 minutes and said, bang on, the boy's been transformed. And I thought to myself, sat in that train, I thought, if I do nothing else in my life,
you've done something right.
If that's all it is, just one boy.
Oh, for sure.
But I like to think there's a lot more than one boy.
And I've seen that myself. I've seen, the impact that you've had on what will be hundreds of young people. It's been such a pleasure to speak to you today, Jock. But I have some quick questions from the team. Now, I haven't seen these, so let's go for it. Oh, I love this. This is a great first one. Where was your favourite football ground to commentate on back in the 80s and 90s, out with the major city stadiums? Do you have a favourite?
Favourite place? Is it got to be in Scotland? No?
It just says any.
Oh, well, a favourite place would be probably the Bernabeu in Madrid.
Nice.
Yeah. Nou Camp's good too.
Yeah, that's Barcelona, isn't it? Mm-hmm. This is a really tricky question. If you could put together your dream Scottish team from your era of involvement, who's in it?
Dalglish and Law. Straight away. Who else is in it?
Who was your favourite footballer?
Dennis Law.
Dennis Law.
Oh, by a mile.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the great thing about Dennis Law was I worked with him constantly in radio.
Oh, did you?
Did commentary.
Oh.
And he's just a lovely, lovely man. He was a lovely guy. And that made me very happy too, because sometimes you meet your heroes and there's a big disappointment about that.
But he wasn't?
No, absolutely not. No.
Who else are you putting in your football team?
Well, Dalglish, without question. I would also have Davy Cooper in it for two reasons. I got to know him. I was very lucky. I got to know him very well later in his career. And he was just a smashing guy, apart from being a wonderful footballer.
And a Hamiltonian. Hamilton, yes, Davy.
That's right. Yeah, it was Hamiltonian. Yeah, it was a tragedy. That was a heartbreak when he died.
Terrible tragedy. What's been your favourite job out of everything that we've talked about, and why?
I would say probably General Manager of Celtic.
It was?
Yeah. Yeah, because it taught me so much about myself too, because I faced relentless adversity through that, because I was pilloried in the press constantly. And you have to deal with that. You have to cope with it and handle it. And you have to pay attention to it. You got to say, all these folk are saying you're a monster. Maybe you are. You got to think about it. And I then reflect on what happened during that time. And in terms of achieving and coping in such adversity, that is the one I think I would choose. The other thing about that was that I was getting a dreadful time in the press. Apparently, because I never read the press. I stopped reading it very quickly when I was there. But I kept getting told relevant stuff. And I was well aware of the antipathy towards me. But I always remember when I arrived at Celtic Park to work, it was a terrific working environment. Lots of great people in there, terrific people. And they treated me very, very well. I never had a problem in the building with anybody in the building. The only problem I had was outside in the press and that kind of coverage.
Did that coverage hurt you? Was it hurtful?
No, I don't think it hurt was the factor, because I understood it. I understood why it was happening. I understood what it was about, and I thought obviously it's not pleasant, if you like, but I no one will criticise me more than I will. I'm my own biggest critic. So I mean, for instance, you sign Lubomir Moravcik, delightful man, wonderful player, and you arrive back in Scotland after doing the deal to find a newspaper headline saying Celtic signed Dud cheque. Well, it's not a cheque. It's certainly not Dud. But that was the reaction, him arriving. Within about a month, he's a superstar.
Yes.
But that was, and part of the reason that stuff was happening was because I signed him. And that meant it had to be criticised. It had to be hammered. So, but when you recognise that and you see that and you know that, it's actually quite enlightening for yourself, because you scrutinise yourself at these times. And it was a very significant experience, yeah.
Have you made peace with that now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I made peace with it quite quickly. Yeah. Oh, no, I don't think I was ever out of peace with it.
Sure.
Because I understood it, I think. And it reflected, I thought, extremely badly on a lot of people and a lot of aspects of the media, which sadly are still around, the aspects of the media. And that upsets me too, because I started as a journalist. I remember the National Union of Journalists, and you're
it's like your own
stuff.
folk.
Aye. But then again, there were exceptions, of course. There were people in the journalistic world at the time who were extremely fair and reasonable and decent. One of whom died last week. Was at his funeral last week. He was terrible. A guy called Brian Scott, the Daily Mail, first class man in every respect. And I'd known him for 60 years, I think. So, there's exceptions. It's not all bad.
No. Two final questions, Jock. We're a credit union that has thousands of members, and they're all at different life stages. If you could give them and your younger self any advice, what would it be? So for our members, what advice would you give to them? Because you celebrated a big birthday last week. You celebrated your 80th birthday last week. What life wisdom can you share with our members?
Listen to good people.
Listen to good people. And what about for you, looking back in your life, what would you say to young Jock going off to Cambridge?
Listen to more good people.
It's a perfect...
I did listen to some, but listen to more.
It's a perfect way to end, because our whole podcast is about money made human and people. I have one last question. What would Hugh and Margaret think of you as you celebrate your 80th birthday? What would they say about your life well lived and the work you've done to help others?
My father would say, "Why didn't you do things better?" I think he would.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
But do you think inside there'd be immense pride for everything you've done?
I think my mother might feel that. I don't know my father. Not sure.
I'm sure they would. I'm sure they would. We're proud of you and proud to know you, and thank you so much for coming in to speak to us. Everyone, Jock Brown!
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Money Made Human podcast. We're grateful to spend time with you and hope you enjoyed it. If you want to join a credit union, choose us. With love, until the next time, First Class Credit Union.